Today we're going to dive into a really fascinating story from history. It's all about how Japan's incredible culture was shaped by this long, long period of being almost completely closed off from the rest of the world. So, let's start with a big question. What if an entire country just took a timeout? A 200-year timeout from the rest of the world. I mean, no one in, no one out. For centuries. What do you think would happen to that place?
Well, believe it or not, this isn't just a thought experiment. It actually happened in Japan. The policy was called Sakoku, which literally translates to closed country. And for over 200 years, Japan deliberately cut itself off from other nations, all to protect its own culture and traditions.
Okay, so your first thought might be, wow, that sounds like it would stifle everything, right? You'd think progress would just grind to a halt, things would get, well, kind of boring. But here's the twist. Something amazing and totally unexpected happened instead. This great timeout actually kicked off an incredible cultural renaissance, a true golden age. So how did that happen exactly? Well, for starters, it led to this massive creative explosion. With the country sealed off, Japan's art didn't just manage to get by. Oh no, it absolutely flourished. Think about it. With no new styles coming in from other countries, Japan had all this time and space to really perfect its own traditions. This is when we see these incredible, uniquely Japanese art forms getting super refined. Things like the dramatic flair of kabuki theater, those gorgeous ukiyo-e woodblock prints, and the calm, precise art of the tea ceremony. Let's look at kabuki, for example. I want you to picture a play that's also a concert and a high-fashion show all rolled into one. It was just packed with drama, amazing music, and these wild, elaborate costumes. And it wasn't just for the rich. It became a super popular form of entertainment for everybody. And then you have ukiyo-e prints. You can kind of think of them like the Instagram of their day, but way more artistic. They were these beautiful, colorful woodblock prints that were like snapshots of the time. They captured scenes from everyday life, the so-called floating world, and showed everything from serene landscapes to famous actors. Okay, so this period of isolation wasn't just about art. It went way deeper. It fundamentally shaped the values of Japanese society. It really changed how people saw their place in the world and what they owed to each other.
You had two major codes of conduct that became super important. On one hand, you have Bushido. That's the famous code of the samurai. It was all about honor, duty, and self-discipline. And on the other hand, you have Confucian values, which were more about the community, focusing on social order, respecting your elders, and living in harmony.
So when you put those two together, these codes really drilled in some core values that pretty much everyone lived by. Things like respecting authority, being fiercely loyal to your family, and maybe most importantly, keeping the peace in your community. And the result? A really stable, unified society.
All right, but the impact of this isolation didn't stop there. It also had a massive effect on two things that are right at the soul of any culture, its language and its beliefs. So check this out. Before this whole closed country period, reading and writing were, well, they were really difficult for the average person. See, they were using these super complex characters that came from China. It took forever to learn them, so pretty much only the elite, the rich and powerful, knew how to do it. But then, during this time of intense internal focus, something revolutionary happened. A much, much simpler writing system called kana was developed, and this was a total game changer. Seriously. For the very first time, kana made it possible for regular people, not just scholars, to learn to read and write. It opened up this whole new world of stories and knowledge for everyone. And something similar happened with religion. Japan's two main beliefs, Shinto and Buddhism, started to grow together in this really cool, unique way. You had Shinto, which is all about nature, ancestors, and these spirits called kami. And that blended beautifully with Buddhism, which brought in deeper philosophical ideas. They weren't fighting for followers. They were working together, complementing each other, and creating this strong spiritual foundation for the whole country. Okay, so let's put it all together. What's the big takeaway here? After more than 2 centuries of being cut off from the world, what was the lasting legacy of this Sakoku period? It's like all these different pieces of a puzzle clicked into place to create this incredibly strong national identity. You've got the unique arts, giving Japan its own special look and feel. You've got strong values, building a stable society. You've got shared beliefs uniting everyone spiritually. And you've got an easier language that let everybody participate in the culture. It all just worked.
So, you see, this era wasn't about Japan falling behind the rest of the world at all. It was the opposite. By turning inward, Japan was able to really focus on and perfect its own cultural strengths, and in the process, it created a society that was, well, truly one of a kind.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought, doesn't it? In our world today, where we're connected to literally everyone and everything 24/7, what can we learn from a time when a country chose to be apart? It's something to think about.